So often we hear other parents say, I could never homeschool my kids for whatever reason. Sure, they're doing it now with the pandemic, but they're convinced they want their kids back in school when this is all over. They have a variety of reasons for this. They don't feel smart enough, or maybe not creative or organized enough. They may not even have thought it all the way through. They just know that leaving it to the experts is the best way to go. And while that's a whole nother blog post or podcast, thinking we need someone else to teach our own kids, whether they're 5 or 15, that's a lot to unpack there, right? And some of that may haunt you as well. So, what I want to break down now is why homeschooling your kids is actually the easier path to take. I have 5 points I want to make. And number 1, your calendar is yours. You're not checking for permission to have a snow day or extend a vacation during non-peak hours. I think this might have been one of my biggest bonus reasons when we first started out on our home education adventure. Number 2, kids can learn to listen to their own body signals about hunger and thirst and contentment and nervousness, even frustration. Parents are there to help kids figure out how to handle their feelings without having to conform to whatever everyone else is supposed to be doing or feeling. And this may really be hard for us as parents. No one necessarily taught us how to do this. So we may have to find resources to make these shifts in how we as parents deal with our kids and their emotions. But the payoff for this extra effort is huge within our daily lives as they're growing up, but also for them to know themselves better when they're venturing out into the adult world in the years to come. Number 3, we get to avoid the people pleaser habit. Whew, boy, that's a biggie. Many of us adults are still trying to work through it. All those years of learning to conform really do condition our brains to seek approval. This is one of those things many unschooling parents need help with, but our kids won't have this tendency as badly as we do. And when we're not faced with this on the daily, we can break the grip a little bit quicker. Number 4, think of all the time and frustration you're going to save. No more frantic mornings trying to find everything your child needs to make it to the school bus on time. Or if you were the school at home type of homeschooler, no more late nights trying to find the math program that would fit your child perfectly. You know, the ones that lure so many of us into those financial mistakes, the ones that promise our child will love this engaging material. Imagine how much easier life will be when we're not beating ourselves up over those bad investments of money and time. Imagine if your late night web searches were more about finding fun things to do with your kids and ways to simply bring more joy into your homes. And number 5, this approach is going to make it a little easier on the pocketbook, or at least we'll feel good about the purchases we're making. We'll have a more deliberate choice of how we want to spend our money. Instead of pouring money into curriculum that we or the kids will not even like, we can spend it on day trips to interesting locations out in our communities, season passes to all sorts of places we may not have had the leftover money for. Now we can afford these things that make life more fun and give us more shared experiences within our family. It does make it easier. I know that many parents see this as unrealistic or maybe even shirking our responsibilities as parents. But I'm here to tell you that is not even close to true. For decades, parents have been coerced and shamed into prioritizing school demands over their own child's true needs, interests, curiosities, and even connection within their families. But it doesn't have to be that way. And here's why. Doors will not close when you choose this unconventional approach. Relationships will not be sacrificed because your child will feel valued by the adult that is supposed to love them the most and who gets to spend the most time with them. Employers don't care when your child learned to read or if they know the quadratic equation. They'd prefer to hire people who can get the job done, work cooperatively with their coworkers, problem solve difficult situations instead of needing it all to be spoon-fed to them. And for those that are worried about this, colleges accept unschoolers all the time. Unschooled teens have been learning all along. Colleges are happy to have applicants who have real life experiences instead of the one size fits all college freshman that has a really high likelihood of washing out. Over at the website, I have a mini course on creating transcripts if you need help with this. But you really can be your child's advocate, even when you're not quite sure what all that entails. You do know what's not working for them or for your family. And sometimes stepping away from an overreaching school system gives you the space to see what's possible. I've heard this time and time again from parents I work with. COVID brought them to this homeschooling concept. Then they learned more about unschooling. And as they leaned into these principles, their children stopped having so much anxiety. They started to thrive. And all it takes was making a different choice. It doesn't even have to be a forever choice. Just for now, drop the things that are truly making your life and your kids' lives harder. Focus on connecting with them. Prioritize this part. And you'll see that things that really matter will show themselves while the more arbitrary busyness of a schoolish day will fall away. All because you dropped the notion that this homeschooling thing is going to be way harder. Because it doesn't have to be. It can really be win-win. So thanks for listening. I'll be back again next week. Enjoy your unschooling adventures.